Listen, they said this is Marvel's first horror movie, so you know I have something to say about it. Let's go. Before we kick off this review, my name is Chris and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it if you hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. This way you'll stay up to date with more fun reviews uploaded weekly. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a sequel to the original Doctor Strange movie. However, with all these movies going on at this point, it's kind of like all these movies are intertwined. So with that being said, if you haven't been keeping up with all the Marvel movies, it could be a little confusing at this point. But if you're a fan of horror, then you might actually enjoy this movie in particular because there might be something for you. This movie is obviously all about Doctor Strange played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but it's also about Wanda Maximoff played by Elizabeth Olsen. Each actor did an amazing job and truly embodied their characters throughout their MCU career. Doctor Strange has a new mission to protect this new character in the MCU who goes by America Chavez, which I thought was a strange name at first, like the first name being America, because every time I heard it, it just threw me off. It's interesting, don't get me wrong, it's just it took a while to get used to. America has the special ability to travel between different universes, otherwise known as the multiverse. He needs to protect her because once people find out about her power, they would do anything to steal it from her so that they can have access to the multiverse and therefore unlimited resources. Wanda is on a mission to reunite with her kids even if they're in a different universe. If you watch the Disney Plus series WandaVision, then you'll understand her passion behind this. Otherwise, you'll be caught up to speed quick because Elizabeth Olsen does a great job selling this. The movie then kind of goes into these books with Wanda being consumed by this book of evil spells, which then turns her into the Scarlet Witch. And then you have Doctor Strange over here trying to get a hold of this book of Ashanti so they can fight off this evil. With Wanda as the Scarlet Witch, I can imagine it must be so much fun for an actor to play a different role like this. All I know is that she did not come to play and she brought it in every scene. I mean, she really stole the show in this movie. I would say this movie is pretty balanced as in each character has the same amount of screen time. However, this movie in particular, it doesn't feel like much character development because we've actually seen these characters in previous shows and movies where we've seen what they've been through, where they came from. Also, that new character America I was talking about didn't really do much in this film, and I can see how some fans may have found it boring. However, since she's new to her powers, I understand it kind of takes time to build up. The narrative could feel like a roller coaster since the pacing is not the best, and we go back and forth a lot between the two main characters. The first half is a typical Marvel movie with the setup of characters, plot, and one-line jokes we're all used to hearing. The second half, however, is when this movie goes from okay to really good in my opinion. And this is all due to the man who directed this movie with the risk he took with the horror elements. The movie is actually rated PG-13, and with Sam Raimi directing, it makes you wonder how in the world he got some of these horror shots in the film. Keep in mind this is an MCU movie, you know, the happy action, family style movie, but in the second half is definitely something you haven't seen before. Sam Raimi is mostly known as being the director of the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire that we all grew up with. Plus he's the creator of the Evil Dead franchise, hence his skill set with horror and superhero action combination for this movie. The first half of the movie has some thriller horror elements that were not that bad. I hate horror movies. I barely enjoy thriller movies. So as I'm watching this, I'm like, this really ain't that bad. They were really hyping this up like it was going to be a serious horror movie. But I'm telling you, by the second half of this movie, it gets brutal, it gets bloody, and ain't nothing funny. You see some crazy deaths. I'm talking visually and hearing because snap, crackle, pop, goddamn, I did not see that coming. And even when they have those slow pauses of silent shot scenes where the camera focuses on an object like a wall or hole in the ground, you know damn well something's about to pop up and bring that loud jump scare. And I'm over here in a loud ass IMAX theater by myself with strangers trying to keep my cool. And when that noise hits, for the most part, I kept my cool. As for small children under 10 years old, I would not recommend them watching. Although there was this one zombie character that kind of reminded me of that zombie from Hocus Pocus. But between us, even that damn movie gave me nightmares as a little kid. But it's a classic now, oh yeah. But this movie in particular, it's really not that bad at all. It's pretty awesome actually how they had these random iconic characters and actors make a cameo. It almost reminded me of my recent TV series review of What If. I recommend watching that show to get a better idea of the multiverse along with the original Doctor Strange movie, which I also love. And is definitely one of my favorite MCU movies. By watching the original movie, you also get a better understanding of the chemistry between him and Rachel McAdams' character. She actually gets more screen time in this movie. And speaking of characters, Wong does this thing in this movie with his fight scenes. Can we get a Wong spinoff, please? That guy Benedict Wong is so talented. Now I can't forget to talk about the multiverse because there are moments in this film where they do travel to different universes. Some for a brief second, minute, or even longer. Some of these places are crazy, however don't expect this movie to be as epic as Endgame with many cameos. The graphics were amazing when they were traveling, so yeah, just keep in mind there is a lot of CGI. I loved all the small attention to detail that they put in every film for these set pieces. I also love the main villain of this film. The way they portrayed the lack of empathy for others just to fulfill their purpose was truly evil. I absolutely underestimated their power in this movie, and it makes you wonder, like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who is the strongest superhero? I mean, let me know down in the comments, because for me, Marvel keeps throwing me up. It fluctuates. 1 minute it's this person, the next minute you get thrown off because this person just comes out of nowhere and just destroys everything. Also wonder what it's like to be in the room with actor Benedict Cumberbatch when he's doing his spells and his acting scenes. Like nowadays with these movies, they just act with themselves, like looking at something fake, and they're just twitching and doing crazy things with their hands. But this guy, he's definitely one of the best to do it. Last shout out is to the composer of this film, who I'm sure many of you may know or know of his films. Danny Elfman has scored the majority of classics we all grew up with and love to this day. You've definitely heard some of his music and melodies before. He definitely builds up that tension in this movie to where you could hear a pin drop. As for the post-credits scene, there are two. The first one, I was kind of confused because when they throw a new superhero in the mix and I'm not familiar with it at this point, it's hard for me to get excited, but I am a fan of the actor that showed up. Now, the one at the very end of the credits, I do recommend sticking around if you want to laugh, but you kind of don't really need to stick around to see if it pushes the story further. Overall, not a big fan of horror movies, but I did thoroughly enjoy the horror, thriller, and suspense elements in this movie. By now, we're all used to the typical cookie-cutter Marvel movies, but with this new version, it just felt different and exciting, especially during the second half of this film. Do go into this with low expectations, and if you're crazy, I would suggest looking to reading some of the comics to really see how interesting these multiverse scenarios can get. Some of these backstories are truly incredible. I have no idea what comes after this story in the MCU timeline, but excited to still see where they take it.
Welcome to my universe, hey, yo, welcome to my universe, hey.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you want to see more, just subscribe. If you want notifications for new uploads, hit that bell icon. Also, if you could share this video with your family and friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.